Alrighty, welcome back. This is I think gonna be our last video, and really it's gonna be nice and short. This is really about my Starlink setup. I wanted to talk through it because I spent a lot of times on forums going way deeper than I should have done trying to get this to work, and it's actually super simple. So what I wanted to do was run my Starlink from my van full time, and I wanted to run it on DC. So first step I actually had to go, and there's a lot of mods that you can do with a Gen 2 dish, which is the little stick one that has the top that moves around, right? So I actually waited and I actually got the Gen 3, which is flat panel with a tiny little kickstand. It doesn't matter if it lays flat. And I'm not out gaming or doing crazy speeds. My internet is good internet, is better than no internet, right? So I just need to be able to put up web pages, send emails, and those types of things when I'm in the field. I don't need thousands of gigs of downput, or up throughput, but I do get that from Starlink. It's very impressive. So I was already a Starlink convert. I just knew I was driving around last year and a lot of remote places, and every time I'd get there, I'd have to set up my Starlink, wait for it to boot, come up, see where something was, get directions, email someone back, check stuff, set it all down again, get back on the road. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way of doing this. I wanted it full time on my van. I wanted to be connected full time no matter where I was. And this is really for work more than anything. And so the Gen 3 came out. That was my flat panel. I showed you that up on the roof before. Mounted that, and that was working great. And so when I originally had that, I was running it just regular. So when you get your Starlink Gen 3, you get your power converter running on 110, and then this is your router, right? So those two things you need in addition to your dish above to make it work off of 110. So 110 was drawing a lot of power. I couldn't have it on all the time unless I was driving down the road. Overnight it would not massively drain my battery. It'd probably drain it like 20% if I just had that on. And so what I did is look for 12-volt solution, and so that's basically what I have right now. Maybe we can see that through here, actually see it without looking at it. So I basically have my Starlink coming from my roof. I have a cable coming down. Once again, wish I'd had more holes in my roof to put stuff in, and that comes into my PoE here. So the key thing with this stuff is it all has to be 56 volts, otherwise it's not going to drive the dish. And I can link both these two things in here. Anyone who knows about PoE and Ethernet, it took me a long time to figure out if I could just plug this straight into a PoE adapter and have the data flow and it work properly, or if there was some kind of proprietary cable that Starlink had given. It's not. This is like basically Cat6 cable with fancy ends on it. So this is the original cable, comes into my inverter here. This is being driven by this little guy here, which is basically upgrading my 12 volts to a 56 volt power supply. And so this basically plugs into my 12 volt battery off my I've got it coming through my fuse panel, plugs into my PoE, gives me my right voltage. That drives my dish, and then this basically runs back through to my router up here, and this has failover, so it'll work off of cellular, and if I'm not getting cellular, it'll roll back to my Starlink for me. So, or I can just run my Starlink, which it usually does, is a lot faster than I'm running my cellular. But once again, I'm not really ever too bothered about massive amounts of speed. If I have internet, I don't care what speed it is, I'm happy. And then I have a little switch. You can see this is, once again, I haven't 100% decided where I want to mount my Starlink dish. So this is where I turn it on and off. This will probably end up in a wall somewhere, or somewhere a lot nicer than just sitting on this little switch there. So that's kind of my Starlink setup, and it works really well. I'm really happy with it. The one thing that you do lose when you remove this router component and have it going straight into a router, you actually can't see any of the settings on your mobile app, because the mobile app, the Starlink, works through this router. But it still has an IP address. If you guys know anything about the tech, you can still find the IP address for the dish that's up on the roof. You can ping that and see if you've got service. Once you're online, you can go to like, what is my IP address, and you can like, that's how I determine if I'm actually running off of without dialing into my router and seeing which, if I'm running off my Starlink or my mobile service, I can check the IP and see, you know, is it owned by SpaceX or is it owned by, you know, AT&T or whoever. So yeah, that's my Starlink setup. Highly recommend it. I am getting the mini dish, which is about this big. That's coming next week for an event that we've got where we're 100% off grid for a couple of different points that we need service. So be interested to see how that works. But I do like my Gen 3 dish, and I'm probably gonna keep that up on my roof. That's it. Hope you've enjoyed this little series. If there's something that you have seen in the background that you want more info on, just point out in the comments, and we can either make another video and show you that stuff, or reply to you and tell you how we did stuff. But thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. We do lots of events which are interesting to watch. So hopefully we'll see you at some of them, or at least have you watch us doing some of that stuff online. Thanks.